sign is the scale. I'm also an extremist. I'll go extreme on one side and then go extreme on the other side. And that's pretty much how I've been living my life, all my life, from one extreme to the other. As I got older and wiser and more disciplined, I learned that I'm not looking for balance, I'm looking for the fulcrum. See, balance is weighing one side against the other or taking away from one side and giving to the other until both are in alignment, which is cool if that works for you. But the fulcrum is the middle of the scale that's unmoved by either side of the extreme. It's planted in a foundation where experience only the witnessing of both sides of the extreme without the emotional attachments to it. So that's what I've been working on mastering. Not balance, my fulcrum.
But harmony.
Yes, it is. It is harmony. And you know, it's funny. The thing about harmony is the first four words of it, which means that there has to be pain for it to be unity. Look at how much the Black community has endured and how much, in many cases, it's brought us together. Harm has created harmony. So when it comes to mental health, there are a lot of people who only live in the challenge stage of it. You know, because all mental illnesses, all mental health issues has a challenging side, which is for a lot of people very unpleasurable, unpleasant, and it has a gift side, a secondary gain. You know, almost like a superpower. And you have some people who have only known the challenges. So they've only known the pain and the hurt and the harm. And for them, their mental illness is a curse, and they want to rid themselves of it. And then when you attach stigma on top of that, you know, there's never going to be any exploration of that mental illness. It'll only be a judgment, a self-judgment, because the judgment from the outsiders looking in, you're filtering your perception of yourself through that judgment. So you suffer in silence. So there's no growth, there's no change to it. It only gets worse. But then on the flip side, you got people who only experience the gift side of it. Yeah, they're quirky. Yeah, they're weird. You know, they got their eccentric way of being, but they're known for their gifts, and their gifts has propelled them to a life where they are in the public eye. They're successful. They have money. They live in all of their dreams, and at the height of their gift, at the height of their popularity, at the height of their getting everything they've ever asked for, boom, now the challenges happen. And people are like, why would you use drugs when you making that much money? Why would you do this when you do that? Why is it when people get famous, they lose their mind? Again, stigma, or baby cousins of stigma. But it's a deeper meaning behind that, because the people who are only living in the gift side of it, the secondary gain of it, not acknowledging and seeing their own mental illness. And these are the two sides that's warring with one another right now. You see empaths who have mastered emotional detachment. That's one side of the extreme. And empaths who embody emotional attachment on the other side of the extreme. One side called the other side narcissists, the other one called the other side victims and weak-minded and too sensitive. But the fulcrum is saying both of y'all right. If y'all could get your egos out of it, y'all could be masters. Bring both sides of the extreme, both sides of the scale into one. And that's what I want to accomplish with this podcast, with the websites, social media, with this whole movement, with the whole mental health cipher. It's talking about the two sides of the extreme and bringing it together to start healing. And using the tools that's available to us through Western medicine. And like I said, sometimes that means medication. Some people need medication. Some people can do it without medication. They're strong. They're strong enough in their mind and their convictions where they can will themselves or heal themselves into a fulcrum.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to create an environment where no one's judged for whatever method that they use. They're only assisted and supported for whatever method they use. Because both sides can learn from the other. Both sides can teach the other. But if both sides are at war with one another, neither side will be able to grow. Just look at it through, remove yourself emotionally and look at what you said, look at what they said, and see how the best of what you said and the best of what they said can work together to create something new. That's alchemy. And that's what the whole purpose of the Mental Health Cypher is to teach alchemy without calling it alchemy. Because that I've learned that scares people because a lot of people haven't heard that term before. And those that have a different viewpoint on it.
Right.
My viewpoint of alchemy is the source of it, the alchemy of the existence of nature, how nature exists, how the universe exists with itself. The universe isn't divided, nature isn't divided. It works with one another, sometimes in a destructive manner, but overall for the greater good of the building phase, you know? A volcano erupting is a violent act, but it's releasing pressure, it's releasing air, it's releasing toxins from the earth, even though it's putting it into the air, that if it wasn't releasing it, it would create more harm, kind of like blowing up the bathroom. Yeah, it's going to stink, might jam the bathroom up, might make people mad, but keeping it inside the body will be doing even more harm. But that's nature. And it's about building and destroying. And it does it with no ego. The earth doesn't get mad at a volcano for erupting. The air doesn't get mad at the volcanoes, ashes and smoke clouds polluting it. And understand this is a necessary part of the existence and the growth and the harmony of it. And this is something that I'm working on personally. Like I said, I'm an extremist. That's why I could see both sides of the argument. I'm working on seeing both sides of the argument without an emotional attachment, without picking a side, and then use the best of both sides to create my fulcrum.
I agree totally, and I know that I can be extreme as well. And so it's like that's one thing about being in groups and stuff. It's a way for you to be able to. I think I did a post about this recently. It's like you can see how everything plays out. Like people get mad at Facebook, and like you were saying earlier, how the lady was saying about the bots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and how others may use the social media as a research tool.
Mm-hmm.
However, if we learned how to use what we see in this environment that we're all a part of, it will give us such it's a learning ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's like putting it right there in front of your face of what's going on. And then it's your decision to either take it and change it up and use it and alchemicalize what's going on to make it better for the whole, yourself first and then the whole, or you can just complain about it. But it's really a great tool to be able to see.
Are you familiar with the 7 Essene mirrors?
Let's say it one more time. The 7.
Essene mirrors.
I think I may have heard of it before, but break it down for me.
Google it.
Okay.
But I'm going to touch upon the.
It's fine.
That was funny. Come on, that was funny. Pretty much the philosophy of it is everyone that you run into, everyone you interact with, everyone that you see is a mirror aspect of you.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the Essene mirrors, the 7 Essene mirrors, they broke it down into 7 categories. I like it. I think the categories are it's a good foundation to build on. The most popular or the most well known of the 7 Essene mirrors is the Dark Night of the Soul. That is the technique that I use to gain my introspection. Not easy, but to look at everything that, if something pisses you off, if something stirs you up, if something make you have a physiological reaction to it, it's mirroring something that you need to be aware of. It could be something you need to work on, something you need to heal, something you need to grow, something you need to look at, acknowledge, something you need to stop doing. But it's an extension of you. Why? Because it's all about perception. Perception builds your belief system. Perception shapes your reality. Perception creates the universe in which you live in. You would never hear two masters say, well, let's just agree to disagree. When people say that, that irks the hell out of me. And because it irks the hell out of me, I had to investigate why is that? Why does that irk me? Because it's not a point of agreeing to disagree. It's a point of agreeing that being on two sides of the scale is disagreeable. Let's get to the fulcrum. And I try to do that through debate, conversation. And when egos are conversations turn to confrontations. Mm-hmm. And then that frustrated me. And people just don't understand me. This is so plain. Why can't they see what I'm saying? Why does that bother me so much? Okay, let's go with that. Are you saying what they're saying? No, because they're wrong. So and you don't think that's ego? Well, yeah, it is ego. Okay, so how can I heal that? Stop trying to heal other people, heal yourself. Mm-hmm. So your response to it is the only thing that creates the chaos. Whew. I've seen some cold masters in my day. I mean, people who just stood there and let people just absolutely argue with themselves into oblivion and didn't flinch. And I'm like, that's power right there. That's mastery right there. That's what I'm aspiring to do. But I'm not there yet because I'm very fiery about my beliefs. I'm very passionate. Why? Because I'm an extremist. So being able to observe myself, what is it, like 9,000 versions of myself in the group? Being able to see 9,000 versions of myself interact with one another has been a very powerful lesson for me on my own self-mastery. Because occasionally, there's been times where I got sucked up into it and I chose a side.
Right.
This person always doing, or this person feel that way. You notice how such do that? Then I have to take a step back and wait a minute. Is that where you want to be at? Really? I don't know how much you know about football, but you have a coaching staff that's on the side of the field, right?
Mhm.
You have the players that's on the field, right?
Mhm.
Then you have staff that sits above the field, above the sidelines. They make calls that people on the sideline or on the field can't make. Why? Because they have a better view, literally a better view, but also they're not emotionally charged by what's happening on the field. I mean, they can be, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, you look at the ones up there in the box, they chilling. You look at on the sideline, the coach yelling, he turning red, veins popping out his neck. You look at the players on the field, they fighting each other. But everybody plays a role in helping the team win. How many roles are you playing within yourself to help you win? Or are you just at a perpetual state of being at war with yourself?
Woo. So that means that but I know some of this stuff, so that means that when I say, because my favorite thing to say is, I'm saying what I'm saying, and then I'm just done.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm unmovable.
Yes.
My foundation will.
Yes. Yes. I'm the earth. I ain't going nowhere. You know what? That now that I think of it, so like looking at the opposite end of, or the another meaning of living your best life by what's his name? Duval. It's kind of like that's gonna mess some people up too. It's a good song to be like, okay, I'm not gonna go back and forth with people. However, you know, maybe you do need to see what they're trying to tell you. Because living your best life is also looking at stuff from another point of view to get the full spectrum of it.
You know what I equate it to? Skipping steps. See, when you skip the step of learning how to be in harmony with your ego, a lot of people hate the ego. Kill the ego. String it up. Off with its head.
I know.
I appreciate my ego because my ego is always on the other side of the extreme.
Mhm.
Now, if you join your ego on that side of the seesaw, how can it move? See, first you got to learn how to balance it out. Then you bring it to the fulcrum. See, I skipped a step. I never got to the balance part. I ain't say never, but I went from one side to the other. Then I'm like, this ain't working. Let me balance it out. Then once I learn how to balance it out, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but it could be better. Let me go to the fulcrum. No, son. You're supposed to stay there with the balancing part for a minute. Why? Because you still have a ignitable ego. It's like a car alarm and the wind blowing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be way more sensitive than what I am now. It's like I'm getting better. I'm definitely healing. I'm definitely came a long way, but there's still more room for improvement before I go to the next step. And anytime that something awakens my ego and we get out of the choreography of our harmony, I have to take a step back and examine it. I dance with my ego. I appreciate my ego. But I understand that if someone else's ego is out of control, it's going to make mine out of control. A hostile approach provokes a hostile reaction.
Yeah.
And see, a reaction versus a response is a reaction is immediate. A lot of times you'll make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. That's a reaction. Response, you got to think. You got to sit back. You got to marinate. You got to look at all sides of the spectrum. You see, a lot of people are going to the realm of responding reactionary. In other words, they've already decided. I'm going to sit back and wait, but I already know what I'm going to do.
Right. They just waiting for somebody to come push their button.
Respond. You leave all of that there, and then take a step back and look at it. How can I grow from this? And some people would rather be right than righteous.
Mhm.
I know this because I used to be one of those people. And in many cases, many situations, depending on what it is, I already visited that part of myself. But I understand that that's not mastery, that's not advancing me, that's not helping me to grow. That's helping me to grow stagnant. And these are the elements of what I believe our group page should be. This is what this type of environment that I would like to create for our group.
Okay.
Check your egos at the door. You're gonna be safe here. It's like if your house if the temperature is set right in your house where people come in from the cold, they feel comfortable enough to take their coat off. The coat representing the ego. They'll have a much more enjoyable visit versus having to leave their coats on and feeling uncomfortable and complaining about, why is it so cold in here? You take your coat off. No, I'm good, because it's not properly heated for them. But they're too embarrassed, or they don't want to say anything, so they just leave their coat on. But when you walk into somebody's house and that heat hits you, like, hello, woo! You come up there, you're like, feel good up in here. You got a smile on your face, octave up in your voice. That's the type of page I want. I want when people step up in there, that heat hit them, that love hit them, that support hit them. Like, no egos needed here. You can check your guns at the door too. We ain't gonna frisk you. We got a basket there. Just put it in the basket. When you leave here, you can get it back. Or if you're really feeling good about yourself, you really feeling healed, leave it in the basket. We'll get rid of it for you. You'll never see it again. And I believe this is a good way for us to build out 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I told you the vision that I see, now let me tell you how that vision is going to look with what we can create.
Okay.
I was showing you a lot of stuff that I created. One, because I love sharing my work with people as an artist. Artists love sharing his work. An artist is an artist to share his work, their work. But another reason why I was sharing is to let you see the possibilities of where we can take this and what I've already done and I can do as far as promotion, marketing, projects, skits, short films, feature films, skits, I already said skits, web series, commercials, trailers, posters, memes, well, whatever it is out there that is popular or trending, I learned how to do it. Period. Logos, logo intros, music, so we're able to create any and all of that stuff once we get in a creative space. Not saying that we're not in the creative space now, but we're doing more building and we're
Right.
doing the creative. But once we do the creative building and we assemble a team who can run what we've created, now we can start getting creative. So that's the next step, building a team. That's why I need admins, moderators, and social media gurus. And preferably not one person that I would like to have a person that can do all of that, but doesn't do all of that. Because I don't want them to get too taxed, because I can overload people, because I overload myself. That's just how I work. I work on a bunch of things at one time. And I've had people that wanted to, they like what I'm doing and they wanted to help, and they ask, how can I help? And when I show them what I do, it scares them off. Because it's like, that's way too much for one person to do. But I do that, plus I create, plus I do this, plus I wear a bunch of hats, So I need people to move at my speed, bottom line. If you're not moving at my speed, you're just going to get in my way. If I have to constantly keep stopping and micromanaging you, I'd rather keep the hat on myself. And that's why I've been pretty much stagnant where I'm at for so long. Because it's a challenge delegating responsibility to other people. I don't trust them to get it done. Why? Because in my experience, they won't get it done. Or they won't take the care that I put into it. That's why it's so important to have a clear vision. And I thank you for even asking me that. A clear vision on what I want this to be. Because if you ask me to write it, it's going to be a struggle. But if I can just speak it, to now moving into the energy of it, because I got my eyes closed and I'm there. And I'm just telling you what I see, what I feel. And I'm able to verbalize it instead of speaking it, writing it. But the right questions have to be asked of me to get it out of me. All right, it's almost 12 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I will talk to you tomorrow. Don't be drooling tonight.
Don't try to stop my experience. That's let me know I'm back in my body. Sometimes I come back. I said, that let me know I'm back in my body. Sometimes I come back and I'm not here. That's a show topic.
Nah.
I appreciate you, Queen.
Appreciate you too. Speak to you in some hours.
Have a good night.
All right, peace.
Peace and travels.